there is something that I wanted to address, and I only plan on addressing it once. So if we continue to get asked about it, we will refer to this moment in time, or we will use this time to deflect and talk about our teammates. Quite frankly, I believe me and Azzi's personal relationship is nobody's business but our own. And what we choose to share is completely up to us. But as media members, I understand you guys have a job to do, and you guys have to ask questions about the basketball aspect of it, so that's what I will be addressing today. Me and Azzi have always been the most professional. We've always conducted ourselves as such.
Watch that carefully, because what you just witnessed is a masterclass in media deflection. Paige Bueckers just told the entire WNBA press corps that her relationship with Azzi Fudd is off limits. She addressed it once, and according to her, that's the end of the discussion. Except it's not, and the reason it's not reveals one of the most fascinating contradictions in professional women's basketball right now. Because here's what makes this different from every other no-comment moment you've seen in sports.
All right, and the fact that they, and I'm talking about Azzi Fudd and Paige Bueckers, they having made their relationship public and they being celebrities puts their relationship under a spotlight, whether they like it or not. Never mind the conflicts of interest, at least these two are on the same team. But the problem is, if they break up, then you've got a fractured locker room. You got a locker room that just got burnt down if they broke up, right? Even worse, you got players on opposing teams.
There it is, the conflict of interest that nobody in WNBA media wants to address directly. Two players in a public relationship, drafted to the same team, and we're supposed to pretend that's just a personal matter that has nothing to do with basketball. Let me give you some context here. Azzi Fudd was selected first overall by the Dallas Wings in the 2025 WNBA draft. Paige Bueckers is already on that roster. They've been in a relationship since their UConn days, and the Wings organization knew all of this when they made that pick. Now, is Fudd talented? Absolutely. Did she have a strong season in Japan? Yes, she did. But when you have other prospects on the board, and you select someone who's romantically involved with your existing star player, that decision is going to raise questions. Fair or not, that's the reality of professional sports.
Against each other in the playoffs and then hanging out together. And it's like, wow, yeah, you're not talking game plan strategy or none of that. Sure you are. You're giving up the house. You are. And now we got Paige Bueckers coming out saying, oh, our relationship is nobody's business. Wrong answer. Sorry, not sorry, don't know what to tell you. Because your relationship has oozed over into your profession. All right, that's whether you like it or not, you're on the same team. So now, look, it's part of you.
And that's the comparison nobody wants to make, but it's the most relevant one. Imagine if two NBA teammates were in a public romantic relationship. Imagine if LeBron James and a teammate were dating. The media coverage would be relentless. Every game, every practice, every team meeting would be analyzed through that lens. But here's what's different in the WNBA. The league has positioned itself as a progressive space that celebrates LGBTQ relationships, pride nights, rainbow warm-ups, public support for players coming out. All of that is genuinely positive and important. The problem is, you can't celebrate these relationships publicly and then simultaneously demand they be treated as completely private matters when legitimate professional questions arise. You can't have it both ways.
Or any cojones to actually ask a follow-up question to that. Because those journalists and those reporters in that room should have crushed her on the spot. Crushed her on the spot. That's arrogance and entitlement at a whole nother level. That's hilarious. People know her and Azzi Fudd have been in a relationship since they was...
And there's the heart of the issue. Not a single reporter in that room pushed back. Not one follow-up question. No challenge to the premise that this is purely a personal matter. Compare that to the outrage when the Dallas Wings PR person cut off questions to Arike Ogunbowale last season. Media members came together, almost universally, to defend the reporter's right to ask tough questions. They argued that stopping legitimate lines of inquiry was inappropriate and unprofessional. But when Bueckers essentially does the same thing, preemptively shutting down questions about a situation that directly impacts team dynamics, there's silence. Why? Because WNBA media has positioned itself as protective of players rather than adversarial when necessary.
Yeah, that's a thing. Are you okay before you get ready to take the court? Oh no, I'm fine. Oh shit, okay. Yeah, one of the two's got to carry that the whole game. And yeah, that's the dynamics. That's real life. I mean, again, can you imagine an NFL player or an NBA player, two teammates, Cooper Flagg and some teammate are mugging down together every night. I mean, and you think...
Let's talk about what happens when this goes wrong. Because Bueckers can say all day that they've handled this situation before, that they're professionals, that it won't affect the team. But relationships end, and when they do, especially public ones with this much scrutiny, the fallout is real. You're looking at a potential locker room catastrophe. If Bueckers and Fudd break up during the season, the Wings don't just lose chemistry between two players, they lose chemistry across the entire roster. Players take sides, tensions escalate, and suddenly, a team with championship aspirations is dealing with interpersonal drama that has nothing to do with basketball. And here's the part that really matters. The Wings would likely have to trade one of them, not because of performance, not because of basketball reasons, but because somebody decided the relationship was over. That's not a personal matter. That's a franchise-altering decision driven by romance.
But the question was fair. Except some members of the WNBA media, because it's not the media. This is what the WNBA media doesn't understand. It's not your job to protect these players. In fact, I mean, that is showing a level of bias. You don't have any business covering this sport if you're actively going to try to protect these players. I mean, it's crazy as hell.
This is where the gambling angle gets uncomfortable. Sports betting is now legal in most states. Fans are wagering real money on WNBA games. And one of the factors they're supposed to consider is team chemistry, player relationships, and off-court dynamics. If Bueckers and Fudd have an argument before a game, does that affect performance? Maybe, maybe not. But bettors have a right to know about factors that could influence outcomes. And a romantic relationship between two key players is absolutely one of those factors. Professional sports leagues have strict policies about relationships that could create conflicts of interest. The WNBA is getting real money now. The new media deal brings legitimate revenue. With that comes legitimate scrutiny. You can't demand to be taken seriously as a professional league, and then claim that professional questions are invasive.
Wasn't she available? She was drafted number 1 because, yeah, the fact that she was drafted number 1 overall when there were players on the board that one could construe as better players available, that in itself raises questions. And that's why a lot of people don't take this league seriously. Many people believe she got drafted because Paige was on this team. I mean, honestly. And it's people like that. I don't get it. They're not doing anything wrong. They're on the same team. If they break up, it's a flamethrower in the locker room.
Here's what makes this particularly complicated. The WNBA has built its brand identity around being different from men's sports. More authentic, more progressive, more willing to let players be themselves. And that's genuinely valuable. The league should be a space where players can be open about their identities without fear. But authenticity cuts both ways. If you're going to be publicly authentic about your relationship, you can't then demand privacy when that relationship intersects with your profession. Bueckers says she and Fudd have countless reps at handling this dynamic, that they've been doing it for a long time. Okay, but college basketball and professional basketball are fundamentally different. The stakes are higher, the money is real, the scrutiny is more intense, and the consequences of failure extend beyond just the two people in the relationship. The Wings fan base now has to live with this uncertainty. Every time the team struggles, every time chemistry seems off, every time there's tension in the locker room, fans are going to wonder if the relationship is the cause. That's not fair to the fans who invest time, money, and emotional energy into supporting this team.
All over this league. Your league literally celebrates it, but do not ask questions. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, Paige. There you go. If two NBA guys were dating on the same team, it would be an enormous story. Part of the new media deal, attention, means addressing things. Yeah, that's the other thing. Y'all getting paid real money now. So now it's time to put your big boy britches on and understand you got to start talking about some things. Once they break up, it will ruin the team chemistry.
Let me be clear about something. This isn't about whether Bueckers and Fudd should be allowed to be in a relationship. Of course they should. This is about whether that relationship, once made public and once it involves teammates on a professional roster, becomes a legitimate subject for media inquiry. And the answer is yes, it does. If you're a public figure in a public relationship, working for a public organization, in a league that publicly celebrates those relationships, then you don't get to claim privacy when professional questions arise. That's not how it works in any other sport. That's not how it works in any other industry. The issue isn't the relationship itself. The issue is the expectation that media should simply accept whatever narrative players provide without asking follow-up questions. That's not journalism, that's public relations. And here's what's going to happen. The first time the Wings struggle, the first time there's visible tension between Bueckers and Fudd, the first time one of them has an off game after they've been seen arguing, the media is going to cover it. Because it's relevant, because it affects the team, because fans deserve to understand what's happening with the organization they support. Bueckers can try to control that narrative now. She can set boundaries. She can demand that questions focus only on basketball. But you can't separate basketball from the people who play it. And you can't separate people from their relationships, especially when those relationships exist within the same professional environment. The WNBA is at a crossroads right now. The league is getting more attention than ever before. More money, more media coverage, more scrutiny. And with that comes expectations of professionalism that extend beyond just what happens on the court. Players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have brought unprecedented visibility to women's basketball. That visibility comes with trade-offs. You get the platform, you get the endorsements, you get the recognition, but you also get the questions, you also get the analysis, you also get the criticism when things go wrong. Bueckers wants the benefits of being a public figure without the drawbacks. She wants to celebrate her relationship openly, but deflect when that relationship creates professional complications. And the WNBA media, by and large, is letting her get away with it. But here's the thing. Fans aren't stupid. They see the contradiction. They understand that a romantic relationship between teammates creates dynamics that affect the team. And they're going to talk about it whether the media does or not. So the question becomes, does WNBA media serve the players, or does it serve the audience? Because right now, it feels like the former. And that's a problem for a league that's trying to build credibility as a major professional sports organization. This situation with Bueckers and Fudd is going to be a test case. How the media covers it, how the league responds to it, and how fans react to it will set precedents for how similar situations are handled in the future. Because this won't be the last time teammates are in a public relationship. It won't be the last time personal dynamics intersect with professional responsibilities. The WNBA can either address these situations with the same scrutiny that other professional leagues do, or it can continue to treat them as off-limits. But you can't build a major professional sports league while simultaneously demanding that certain aspects of that league remain beyond criticism or inquiry. Bueckers said she only plans to address this once, that she and Fudd will deflect future questions or redirect to talk about teammates. That's her choice. But media members have a choice too. They can accept that deflection, or they can continue asking the questions that fans actually want answered. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about invading anyone's privacy. It's about understanding the dynamics that affect team performance in a professional sports league. And if WNBA media isn't willing to ask those questions, then they're not doing their jobs. They're just running interference for players who don't want to deal with the realities of being public figures in a professional sport. So what do you think? Is this a legitimate line of questioning, or should players' relationships be completely off-limits regardless of professional implications? Because I know where I stand. And based on the reaction Bueckers is getting online, a lot of fans agree. Let me know in the comments where you fall on this, because this conversation is far from over.